Hey y'all, it's Dr. Tartt. Excited to be with y'all. Welcome to another edition of Heart to Heart with Dr. Tartt. I'm excited about being before you today. For those of you that don't know, I am a faith-based psychologist, means I merge psychology as a psychologist into my faith, all right, as a minister as well. And this is going to meet you right where you are. So if you have a child, if you're planning to raise children, you know that we are in the middle of a mental health crisis and that our kids are not okay. And if you're a parent, you want to know how to help your kids to be okay for the different phases. If that's you, today I have a dynamic show for you today. So we're going to dive into another edition of Heart to Heart with Dr. Tartt. Today we're talking about 7 character traits to raise successful children. 7 character traits to raise successful children. All right. So the research was done. I'm going to give credit to Paul Tough, who has a book out called How Children Succeed, and actually a new book called Making Children Succeed that are absolute must reads if you are a parent, because it talks about what we need to do as parents, what virtues, what characters we need to instill in our children so that they can be successful. So how do you figure this out? So they did this study, right? They did this study of the world's most successful people, and they looked for a number of traits in those successful people. So the Oprah Winfrey's, the Barack Obamas, the LeBron James, you name it, Hillary Clinton's, whatever. All right. So the world's most successful people, whom we deem to be successful, and it's what do these people have that if we taught our children would lead them to being successful. And we're going to go over each one of them. So I'm excited. I'm excited today. This is going to be amazing. I was looking at this list and it was a head scratcher for me because I was like, these are some things that I absolutely need to instill in each one of my 3 children. So let's dive in because I know y'all gonna find this impactful. All right. I hope that you find it impactful. Let the people see it. All right. Number one is ambition. Number one is ambition. All right. So when we start talking about ambition, it's a strong desire to do or achieve something, typically requiring, determination and hard work. Right. So this promotes what we call as psychologists self-efficacy, internal locus of control, which means your ability to control it. No one else can give you ambition. This is something that you can go after and you can pursue. And it's interesting. A couple of years ago, I got called into a private school. I cannot remember the name, and they wanted me to speak to something called affluenza. And affluenza is a term that loosely describes children who grew up are growing up affluent and they are lacking drive. They're lacking ambition because their parents have it all, and their parents don't want them to have affluence. They want them to have ambition and drive. And a lot of my work with the NBA and NFL, the people that are typically there, WNBA, they are ambitious. These are the most competitive, ambitious people in the world. So there is a power of ambition. If you have children and you are affluent and you have money, or even if you're upper middle class, and you grew up totally different from your children and you want them to have that drive and ambition, don't give them too much. Make sure that they have ambition to go after it. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. And one of them is not give them everything, right? Like earn a car, like learn how to drive, learn how to work to earn a car so that you understand what it's like to actually have to put some sweat equity into something. Ambitions, you say you want to go after the best test. Let's see if you can get a 5 on one of those AP exams, right? My daughter's currently taking an exam right now for AP US history. Let's pray that she gets, a 5, but I'll take a 4. I'll take a 3. All of them give college credit. So it's ambition. Your kid wants to be a basketball player, a business owner. Maybe they want to be the first female president of the United States. Ambition. Have them go after it. Put that out there. Don't give them everything, but make sure they absolutely are stating their goals. When your kids say, I don't know what I want to be for a chronic period of time, that is a red flag. And we need to make sure that they have ambition to pursue something that is real. Number 2, this was an interesting one. Let y'all see it. Professionalism. Like, look at this man. This man is getting his grass cut by any means necessary. And it's the competence or skill expected of a professional. So now y'all saying, what does that really have to do with school, right? So with kids, and we're really talking about it, we're really talking about Like, can you go to school and bring your pencils and your paper? Can you bring your Chromebook? Can you bring your laptop? Can you take notes? Can you do your classwork, your homework? If Are you tracking what the teacher is saying? Can you show up to school, be on time for school? That is a big deal in a lot of schools. Can you be on time, be in class, do what you need to do, get the study notes, just be a professional student so that the teacher can do his or her job, right? And so it means like a willingness to ask questions. I don't get number one. Be a professional student. And those of you that know that work, know this is important. How many people do we know at work who are talented, but yet are unprofessional? They are unprofessional, right? We'll take someone who's less talented any day than someone who is intentionally unprofessional. Get the stuff done when you say it is supposed to be done. All right. Professionalism. Y'all can see how that's important. All right. Number three, integrity. Oh my goodness. So the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. How many of us know someone who is successful, yet that lack of integrity has totally ruined their career? Right, has been a major issue, and that's something that we fear as parents, that we can raise our kids, and then one mistake, especially with social media and the footprint that it leaves, one comment, one wrong picture, one wrong move, especially when it comes to raising black boys. One fight, one disrespect of police, talking back to the wrong person. That lack of integrity can really catch you up. So we want to make sure that we are building our children up, and I think this is the importance of having your children in church, right? Because we start talking about moral development. Who does that better than the church? Right now, I know a lot of y'all like, man, it's not my faith. It's not what I want to do. Then you're going to have to do some type of character development, right? Do character development on your own or through some of the character development programs, which need to be more core in our kids' education. But a lot of times you can't find anything structured. So a lot of times that is going to be through church, where you actually learn morality and integrity and to do the right thing. With us not being able to monitor what's going on with these cell phones and social media and these different accounts, and our kids have ghost accounts. Your kids are like mine. You just don't know what's going on, so you want to make sure that you're able to instill integrity. And the best way to do that is not to like just shove it down their throat, especially with teenagers. Ask them what they think about alcohol. What do you think about smoking? What do you think about sex before marriage? What do you think about cheating on a test? What do you think about Roe versus Wade and women's rights? Right? What do you think about racism? What do you think about sexism? What do you think about homophobia? So you can actually sit down with your kids and be able to develop their moral character by having a conversation with them to make sure that you instill the morals that are representative of your family, and as they get older, morals that are will allow them to be able to have a successful career and not get derailed. All right. Number four. This is a good one. Resourcefulness. This was an interesting one. This is one I had to look up, right? Resourcefulness is the ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. Now, when you see that, there it is. All right. And so it's like multiple ways of getting something done, right? I remember being in AP calculus in high school, right? And I did not get AP calculus. Now, I was good at it, but I was not very interested in it, right? And because I wasn't very interested in it, I didn't want to put the work in it to be able to even get a 3, 4, or 5 on the AP calculus test. I was like, I want to be a psychologist. Why do I have to take AP calculus, right? Why am I even in this class? What was I thinking, right? And I was resourceful, right? Because the teacher of this particular class could not explain it very well to me. So I used my friends, Byron, Dexter, Cassandra, Tamika. To this day, I thank you for getting me through AP calculus, because they were doing proofs. I was like, what? What is this? What language is this? And so my friends were able to break it down for me to be able to actually pull an A in the class, right? To pull an A. Don't ask me what I got on the AP exam, all right? But I was able to pull an A out of the class for AP calculus because I was simply resourceful. Parents, how many of you are like that, right? Like, okay, so if you can't figure it out this way, ask someone else. Or if you're at work and you're not part of you may not be the most talented, can you be the most well connected? Let's just be honest. Can you be the most well connected? Can you make friends with the boss? All right. Or if you are the boss, all right, can you be resourceful in finding multiple ways to appreciate your staff? All right. Like let's do experiences. Like you can give people money, but the research says that people actually appreciate experiences. So instead of giving them $300, give them $300 towards a Disney cruise. You see what I'm saying? They're going to remember that the company took care of them. So resourcefulness is a big one. All right. Number five. Oh, this is a good one. Self-control or willpower. I don't know how I got chopped up like that, but self-control, willpower. Right? This is the big one. This is the big one. All right. So the ability to control one's emotions and desires and expression of them, especially under pressure. Right. And then willpower is the control exerted to do something to restrain impulses. Right. And it says in the Bible, pretty Proverbs 25:28, like a city whose walls are broken, uh, through is a person who lacks self-control. Now, this is a big one. All right, this is like when it comes. Let's talk about school. All right, I'm not going to generalize just yet, but let's talk about school. When you start talking about self-regulation of emotions, self-control, the ability to focus so that you can hear what the teacher is teaching you, and the ability to persevere when you don't understand something, that is critical. Let me just give you this research. All right, and this came from Paul Tuff's latest book called Making Children Succeed. So children from trauma backgrounds, low income, disadvantageous neighborhoods, right? Things have happened, adverse effects we call them, right? There's a whole test you can look at as far as adverse effects. Look at the ACE test, all right? Or the research around ACE. And so we look at how many adverse situations and traumas kids have had. What it does is it affects their ability to control their emotions because they've been through so much trauma and oftentimes have not gotten the necessary therapy for that, necessarily counseling. And so you start seeing these emotion regulation issues where if you can't control yourself in the classroom, you're going to be suspended a lot. You're going to be reprimanded a lot. And so the classroom becomes a very angry place, right? And then so willpower. Also, they were like, if you really want to help your kids, help them to do something difficult. Support them to do something difficult where they can't figure it out, but they keep trying, and eventually they get it. Once they get it with your support, then that kid's going to have willpower. It's not really about the trauma. It's not about whether they come from a poverty-stricken environment. It's about, man, I can do this. It's about self-efficacy. I can actually figure something out. I can actually play music, be bad at it, and produce a song. I can actually start out drawing, be bad at it, and actually be a professional artist. I can start out struggling with reading and actually be a motivational speaker like Les Brown, right? That's what we want to teach our kids. And I want to show you, because this is a picture of a kid, I want to show you something really quickly of a marshmallow test that they use on very young kids to be able to assess for self-control early on. All right, I want to show you this because it's kind of funny, but I want y'all to watch. I want y'all to watch this. All right, watch this right quick.
The marshmallow test is a really great way to show how children delay gratification. We tried it out with the 4 children we've been following since September 2010, Alfie, Millie, Mackay, and Pratmesh. Here's how it works. We had each child on their own sit at the table at a desk with a plate and 1 marshmallow. They could either choose to eat the one marshmallow right then and there, or they could wait until I came back into the room and have 2 marshmallows. I left them alone in the room for 15 minutes. Take a look. The marshmallow test has been used for decades by psychologists. It's been used with children to predict later academic success, including literacy, SAT scores, and other academic outcomes. There's no definitive answers from the marshmallow test. It's not a matter of passing or failing. What we're looking for is whether children can really resist this piece of white candy sitting in front of them that's sweet, that, the smell of it, the allure of the marshmallow, In Pratmesh's case, we really saw this added curiosity because he had never actually tasted a marshmallow before. All of the children managed to show some level of self-control and resist the temptation to eat the whole marshmallow. As you can see from the footage, you can catch a glimpse into children's ability to control their impulses. This ability, which is developed around the time of kindergarten, can be linked to other outcomes later in life. At the end, the marshmallows were in kind of different states. Some had been squished, ripped apart, nibbled around. There was this temptation and there was this impulse to kind of try it out.
I mean, so you can see how important that is, and so you're looking at it. Well, maybe not. I don't want to assume. So when you're looking at it, restraint, self-discipline, is saying, "All right, I'm gonna resist the urge to crack a joke in the middle of teacher teaching. I'm gonna resist um, cheating on a test. I'm gonna resist whatever it is. I'm gonna resist falling into temptation later in life. All right. I mean, you're in a stable relationship, but you're able to have willpower, right? And say, all right, I'm not going to worry about what's in front of me. I'm going to focus on what I need to do. I'm not going to take the shortcut. I'm not going to go into drugs. I'm going to go into college. I'm not going to worry about the short money. I can resist the temptation of that, right? I'm going to resist the temptation to be homophobic, right? Even though it may be popular, right? I'm going to go with my morals and do the right thing and support people. So you can see, especially in academics, if you're able to focus on what you need to do and not draw, not color, not get on social media, not be on the phone, not playing video games when you still be doing homework, y'all get the importance of self-control and willpower, the ability to finish. Let me finish this first, and then I'll party second. Some of us still need to get that lesson, right? And they still need to get that lesson. All right. All right. So that's self-control. And then the next one is learn optimism. All right. This was a big one. All right. Because learn optimism is the ability to shift one's thinking from negative to positive. Right. And so this is a growth versus fixed mindset, which was popularized by psychologists by the name of Dr. Carol Dweck out of Stanford. She has a book called Mindset and talks about a growth mindset where you're able to see literally this glass of water here. And you're saying, you know what? It's half full versus half empty. Now, what does that have to do with anything? That means that I can look at life and say, you know what? I got an F on my first test, right? In Spanish. I don't know Spanish very well, but they dropped the lowest test grade. And if I go to tutoring and figure this out, I think I can still pull an A or a B out of this class. And this is the only test that I fail. You know, so it's the ability to see opportunity. It's the ability to see the sunshine, even though it's rain. It's the ability to find the silver lining in the dark cloud, to keep you with good mental health, right? To say, hey, this is a rocky first semester of college, but I can do it. Or you know what? I'm at a new school. I don't have any friends. Maybe I should start being pro-social. That means I take the action, and then maybe I should speak to people and use being new to my advantage. So let's learn optimism. Number 7, this one of all of them is the most important one. All right, of all the virtues, this is the most important one. So resiliency slash grit. All right, so the capacity to recover quickly from difficulty, so that toughness. So grit, courage and resolve, strength of character. So I think the hidden drivers, with grit, are just having a sense of purpose, right? A calling for your life, that's supported by love. Like, so you see a lot of gritty people. All right, as you see the sounds of the city in the background. All right, as you hear, when we deal with really gritty people, and I did a lot of this with the NBA and talking to players about how did you get to the NBA? How did you make it here? And the stories of resilience and grit. My dad was a professional basketball player, and people said I was only invited to these different camps. I got into this college because of the reputation of my dad. Or you know what? People doubted me. Like LeBron James talked about, I think maybe 6, 7 middle schools, whatever, changes in schools in his young life, and how that made him gritty, and that he had to overcome in doing things without his father, without stability, without all the resources that other kids who had affluence had, and how that grittiness and the ability to just make it happen helped him to be one of the premier basketball players of all times. And you think about your own success. Let's be real. You're successful not because everything has worked out your way. You're successful because you're gritty. right? So I'm one of the best psychologists in the country, all right, because I'm gritty. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that there's a whole tribe of psychologists and therapists and social workers and ministers out there that who are doing the work, right, when it comes to healing trauma and ADHD and depression and anxiety and suicide prevention, parenting work. We're doing the work, right? And we're gritty though. So we could get kids who have a lot of issues, and we have couples that have a lot of issues, people that have a lot of issues. When I mean issues, I mean they've had a tough life, right? They were not blessed. They did not have a silver spoon. They had loss after loss after loss, obstacle after obstacle, followed by loss, followed by challenge, followed by trauma, right? You have to be gritty in this profession. And so we don't give up with people. You know, you might have a bad month, you might regress, you might relapse. We don't give up on you. Gritty. And if you're gonna be gritty, all right, you're gonna be successful. Right. But let me break it down even more, because this was very, very interesting to me about grittiness, because there are things that we can do to actually be grittier. And let's break this down. This came from an article I got off psycom.net. Katie Hurley, a licensed counselor and social worker. That's what LCSW means. Came up with this list. Let's break them down really quickly. All right, number one, this is how to foster resiliency and grit in your child. So this is how to get your child to be grittier, to be emotionally tougher, right? How to get them to persevere. Because you can see this list and you're like thinking, like, how do I do this? Like, what do I do with my child? All right. So number one, build a strong emotional connection. This is important. So this means having a one-on-one relationship with your child. Your child learns who they are in conversation with you. As a young child, they call it like call and response, or parallel play, right? When you're like, hey, you want the little fox? Oh, you want the little fox? Here's a little fox. Oh, you like that? You're doing that with an infant, right? And they're watching your mannerisms. You're playing with them. You're lighting up those neural pathways for your son, for your daughter, that's being responsive and seeing you pay attention to them, right? And that's building warmth. They're saying, man, I am worthy of being paid attention to. And what we know from the research is that the opposite of that is emotional neglect, or even understimulation, to where you're in the house but you're not really seen, right? Parents, they raise you, but they don't necessarily emotionally connect with you. They don't really sit down and ask you your thoughts and feelings. It's kind of that old school dysfunctional approach that kids don't get an opinion, they don't get a thought. They're just there to serve the needs of the parent, or just are to behave like plants. All right. And I'm not knocking it, but it's very different. So emotional connection allows your kids to say, man, you know what? How I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, how I view the world is important. Number two, promote healthy risk taking. Oh, this is a big one. In our house, we call it doing hard things. And that came from a book called Grit by Dr. Angela Duckworth, right? I'm shouting out psychology. I'm giving y'all real research, y'all. Angela Duckworth. And it's called Have Your Kids Do Hard Things, right? I'm going to have my daughter do at least one YouTube or podcast episode talking about Roe versus Wade. Now, she's equipped to debate, but this will be her first time doing a full on YouTube. And so it's going to be hard for her. She's going to have to get comfortable in front of the camera. She's going to have to be okay with being critiqued. It is a very, very divided issue, all right, when it comes to women's rights. But you know what side we're on, right? We represent women's rights to the fullest. All right, no man should tell a woman what to do with her body. But we're not going to get into that, right? So, but promote healthy risk taking. Promote her taking an opinion that's going to get a little, pushback, right? Because as strongly as I say that, I know y'all are watching this, and you may be on the other end. That's life. So I have to show her. I have to tell her how to do that. I have to show her to do that, especially if she wants to go into politics and public policy and psychology and foreign affairs that she's thinking about. So you have to teach them how to do that. All right, number three. Resist the urge to fix the problem and ask questions instead. All right. Don't be the helicopter parent. Right. If they don't know how to do it, you do something called scaffolding. And scaffolding is where you don't really give them the answer. You just lead it to them. Right. It's like, remember scaffold, like I think about New York, it's always construction and the scaffold is right above your head, but you can reach up and grab it if you wanted to. All right. So what you do is, your child might say, I don't know how I failed this test. Now, they ain't steady. They were on a PlayStation. They were on a phone. They were on Discord all night. You know it. They on TikTok doing dance challenges all night, right? You know why they failed, but you have to lead them. And you say, you know what? How many hours did you study? 1. Okay. What did you get on the test? At 9. Okay. All right. Do you think a 1 minute of study was enough? No. Well, how much more do you think you need to get to actually get a passing grade? Right? Hey, well, if football, why you not starting? All right. Well, all right. What did you ask the coach? Okay. Well, who would have information as to how you would start? All right. Have you talked to your friends? You get what I'm saying? So you're leading them, but you're not solving the problem for them. Why is that a big deal? Because we see a lot of kids who had helicopter parents in high school, and when they go to college, they fail because it was the parents who were doing the work. And I'm not knocking you. I get it. You're trying to get your child out of high school. They won't do the work. You're the one on the parent teacher conference. You're the one checking the parent portal. You're the one taking away the phone, the PlayStation, right? Grounding them so they get the work done, working out deals with the teachers. I get it. But that's not going to be possible in college, and it's not going to be possible when they go to a trade or work. They're going to actually have to do the work. All right. Number 4, same thing. Teach problem solving skills. Right. How you gonna solve that? All right. Actually, articulate how you solve problems. Let them see that you have problems and how you go about solving them. Number 5, label emotions. Oh, so you're frustrated right now. Right now, you're feeling helpless, powerless, which is a big deal for men, especially black men. Feeling helpless and powerless is a huge emotion. So I get it. You're not sure what to do. You got pulled over by the cops. He frisked you. There's nothing you could do. You think that you were racially profiled. Okay. We're gonna have to bounce back because we still have basketball practice tomorrow, and it's the game you practice for, a playoff game. How do we bounce back? We're gonna actually talk about those emotions. We're not gonna act like it didn't happen. We're gonna cry. We're gonna be upset. We're gonna be mad. We're gonna put together an advocacy game plan to educate others and change the criminal justice system if need be. But we're gonna move forward. But it's okay for you to have emotions because you're a human being. You are a human, a woman. You're one man, right? Meaning that we have emotions. We have emotions. I didn't get the whole one man thing, but just bear with me, right? You are. I was trying to say human, right? We have emotions, and we're not like a computer. All right. Number 6, demonstrate coping skills. All right. We tell our children to suck it up, but how? Right? Do you take a shower? I mean, do you sit down and talk about what went wrong? There's a thing in psychology called the regret circle. All right. Dr. Daniel Pink came up with this. Well, actually, he mentioned it in his book, The Power of Regret, where you just say, you form a regret circle like teams do it. How do we lose? What went wrong? So that you can figure out what went wrong and get it out of your system. Keep game three, and move on. Or hey, how do you? Okay, you didn't do well on this test, but we still have 5 more finals to take, right? So let's keep it pushing, right? How do you do that though? I mean, do you watch a funny show to change your mind? Do you get a massage? Do you go on a date? Do you call a friend? Do you play the PlayStation? What do you do to cope with having a bad day? Yeah, 7, embrace mistakes, theirs and yours. Allow them to say, listen, we want you to fail in life. You're not failing, you're not taking a chance, right? We want to fail very quickly so you can get to what works. A failure does not define you, it's just the process. It's the process of life. So your first YouTube got 19 views. You're lucky you got 19, all right? But let's figure out how to get that SEO going. Let's figure out how to get those tags going. Let's figure out how to pick the right title. Let's figure out how to promote and advertise, right? Let's figure out how to get the right length for the social media that you're on. Like this is too long for Instagram, but it's not for YouTube, right? So we have to figure that out. So allow them to be able to just figure it out. All right. Let's see. Number 8, promote the bright side. Every experience has one. That's learn optimism. Hey, what like you got your first podcast out the way. All right. You learn how not to do it. You learn how not to touch your face in the middle of a YouTube video, which I used to do all the time. You learn how not to cough and hack. You learn how not to rub in your eyes. You see what I'm saying? I had like a little glitch here with the video. It should have been bigger in the very beginning. Hey, but you let it go. You keep it moving, right? And then number 9, model resiliency. I might have gotten off on these. That might be number 8. Model resiliency and the bounce back. So you had a rough day as a parent. Hey, all right, get back out there the next day. Hey, you saw dad and pick up lead church basketball get dunked on. Hey, the next day I went out there. and I blocked it, right? Or I fouled them before they went up to dunk on me, right? Resiliency, you bounce back. You let yesterday be yesterday and today be today. And then the easy one is exercise, right? Exercise is a stress reducer, all right? It produces endorphins. Endorphins are pain relievers, right? And so a lot of times exercise for me works because I'm able to kind of sweat the day off. I'm able to just get over it, get by it physiologically so that my mind can reset and feel like I'm doing something, right? When a project might be stuck. All right, so I hope that was helpful, y'all. I know I gave y'all a lot, but parents need a lot these days. So if you subscribe to this, like, share this with other parents, right? And if you want to just book me, or you want to get in contact with me to speak, there's my contact information. I'm not hard to find, as they say. As they say, I'm excited about it. Follow me on Instagram. There's my speaking website. And that's my social text line. For those of you that might miss these videos, I'll just text them out to you. So I hope this has been helpful, right? I know this video is a little bit long, but I wanted you to get it. And I want you to go back through this and I want you to digest it. And I want you to say, how can I teach my kids this list? And they're not exhaustive. There's more things I didn't even talk about that might be for another video, like curiosity, right? Certain things that you have to have as a kid, as an adult to be successful. And I know y'all are thinking, man, this list was for me. There's some things I need to do as an adult to be better and have stronger character development so that I can be more successful and influential in my life. All right. So I hope that this helps. God directed me to this video. I do this research and send this out there for you. And whatever your faith is, whomever you worship, I pray that you got something out of this because we all want our kids to be successful. We all want them to be raised the right way. And we know that there's a war against our kids, there's a war against parents. But we're going to win because we're going to be equipped with the skills necessary and the tools necessary. And I'm going to make sure that I do my part. So I love you. Take care. God bless. And let's raise our kids to be resilient and happy kids.